Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 52nd episode of Shochu'sday. It is Wednesday morning here in Japan. I'm here with Stephen Lyman, and my name is Christopher Pellegrini. Welcome back. And episode 52.
We've
Come
done this
right
for
to
an
that.
entire year, 52 weeks in a row.
52 straight weeks, no weeks off. I mean, there were times when you weren't there, there were times when I haven't been here, but
Yeah.
52 weeks in a row.
And
Where's
we
my
did lose
cookie?
one episode to a Instagram snafu. I believe it was around episode
That's
38 or so
correct. That is
that
correct. There is one episode that was not documented. So if you weren't there
lost in
for
the
it
ether.
live,
Yep. And that was our
so
Shima Yuri episode. We're going to have to redo that one at some point.
happily. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
an updated version, a more recent iteration of Shimayuri, the Awamori, from way off on the western side of that string of islands, won best in class at San Francisco just
It did.
recently, so we're gonna have to revisit that.
Yeah. Got to try to track that bottle down.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I may have that. So, I have a bottle. I have two bottles from a crowdfunding campaign last summer, and it's the exact same. That it's a kind of a unique new shaped bottle that
Hmm.
looks slightly wine like, but then it has it has like sharper shoulders though. There's definitely
Yeah.
an edge to it,
It's a
and
pretty
it's
looking
this
bottle. Yeah.
it's a very simple black bottle with almost like a screen printed design on the front, and I need to check and see if I have the same expression or if it's something else. But yeah, good for them, and I guess that could kind of qualify as our first bit of booze news, right? With yeah,
Sure.
Shirayuri, one of their expressions winning best in Awamori class, which is very
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah, very good. And for a distillery like that to start winning international prizes is a big deal. I think normally
Yep.
the submissions are coming in international competitions are coming from the big boys, right?
Yep.
Really large distilleries that have a lot of export. Hamada being an example, who their Dayame has won some medals, and then you've got Komasa and Ichiko and some of the or Sanwa some of these larger makers who are submitting and winning medals at overseas competitions. But Shirayuri's not such a big outfit.
No, and I don't think it wasn't them that actually submitted. It was one of their distributors in Okinawa, I think,
Oh, okay,
submitted them. So that probably was a very pleasant surprise from them. I have no idea what the communication was before the entry, but yeah,
sure.
it probably doesn't hurt to hear that one of your awamori won best
Hmm.
awamori in the world. So
Yeah, that's right. That's very
speaking
cool
of
for them. And
Hamada,
we met
oh,
somebody
go ahead.
from Shirayuri when we were at
We did. We met
Soko, right?
the young, I believe he's the Toji now.
I think he might be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was looking for his
yeah, he
business
was
card the
quite
other day and
young.
I cannot find it.
I
But
probably have it somewhere.
you probably do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the same day that we met the young artist from Chinen Bingata. They were there at the same time,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that led to a visit. I was able to go there a couple of weeks later. I still have yet to post those videos on Instagram. That's another thing I have to do today. Just because it's such a beautiful thing. Bingata is this pattern of, it's a hand printed stencil based pattern for dyeing fabric,
Hmm.
and it's the Okinawan or the Ryukyuan Bingata. This stenciled pattern is really bright, vibrant, based on, there you go.
This sort of thing.
There's a
Yeah.
good example of it. A lot of natural themes, flowers, animals, daily life. That blue is quite common. Really refreshing and
Hmm.
tropical in
Tropical.
ways.
Yeah.
Type
Yeah.
of
It reflects the
style.
ocean, the flora and fauna of Okinawa.
Yeah. So I was able to
Mhm.
go to the studio. They tend to be these long rooms because when they dry these, the fabric tends to be produced in very long bolts. that stretch clear across the room. So they have them on these. They have them stretched out, and then they use these pieces of. They're like reeds almost. They're some, maybe it's a type of tree or something, very thin pieces of like twigs, and they bend them, and they have little needles on the end, and they go to either side widthwise of the fabric to stretch it wide as well as it's being stretched long. So it's almost looks something a little bit like a long kite that's been stretched across the room, and those tend to be after being dyed, they're sewn into kimono obi, which is the belt, the high belt on a kimono, both for men and for women. Am I right? Yep. And really beautiful style down there, really bright and refreshing style. So I'm gonna have to put that up maybe today.
Yeah, that was cool that you got to visit him. Unfortunately, I wasn't in Okinawa long enough to make that visit, but hopefully in the future I can swing by.
Yeah, pretty easy to reach. They're not far from Akamine Station, which I think is just one station from the airport.
Okay.
Really good bottle shop next to the station too. So you have to. I think it's called Smile. Easy to remember. Yeah, booze news. How about, was there anything else in booze news? Hamada, I think, had something.
Yeah, Hamada released a 40% expression of Dayame in the U.S., or it will be available soon. They are, I guess, making the Ichigo bartender play in a way, right? Kind of following in the footsteps of Saiten. For those of you who maybe have heard of the brand but haven't had a chance to try it, Dayame it's one of these very modern fruity styles of sweet potato shochu. It expresses lychee, which you just wouldn't expect from sweet potato shochu, at least not prior to these very fruity styles starting to appear. And of course, I think the OG of that style was probably Yasuda. Is that fair to say?
And that's a good question. I'm not sure which came first.
Yeah. I know Yasuda was available before Dayame.
Okay.
I don't know what came. I don't know what came. If anything came before Yasuda or anything inspired Yasuda. And Yasuda is the name of the toji, right? That's actually his name.
That's correct.
Is that Okubo? Kokubu. Yeah. I get those two mixed up still. Still learning my Japanese.
Oh yeah, true. They're you're just mixing the vowel sounds around a little bit.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, so be very curious to see how that expresses. In my experience, I feel like the higher proof something gets, the sweeter it expresses in a lot of shochu as you try different ABVs. So I'll be curious if it still has that really light lychee flavor, if it gets deeper and sweeter in 40% expression. And also 40% is high for a sweet potato.
Certainly.
Right? Yeah, so I wonder if they must have cut the tails sooner.
Yeah, they must have.
Yeah,
it's a couple points higher than the average. That's very true. And over here, their regular 25% expression is generally intended to be enjoyed with bubbles, right? I think that's one of the major plays for that sweet potato shochu.
That's right.
There are a bunch of expressions these days that really are intended for consumption on the rocks with sparkling water. And that's a big, I mean, that's pretty recent, I'd say. Last 5 years or so.
Oh, sure.
Is when you started to see, for instance, the soba and soda campaign, which was a big push by Unkai, who are the makers of the best-selling soba jochu on the planet. They hired a really famous actress, and they started pushing this simple blend of, I think it was 2 parts soda to 1 part soba shochu, 2 parts soda to 1 part soba shochu over ice, and it's refreshing. It's nice, the bubbles, and then the natural sweetness, and then also some of the bitter notes from the shochu play really well together. So
sure,
I think there's more and more of that coming.
Certainly a relatively recent phenomenon with the soda wadi or the highball versions of shochu service. I distinctly remember Tekkan from Yamato Zakura introducing me to that style probably the second or third year I was working there. So 2014, 2015. So pretty recent
Okay.
past. And, and he took his time. He built a really nice drink and it was fantastic. It's a really nice way to drink some of these. The effervescence obviously makes things brighter, but also I think you can end up picking up a lot of the esters that way through the bubbles. So it's an interesting way to try. Not everything plays well that way, but it's always interesting to try, I think.
Maya is here right now, and I think she's referring to the new Hamada 40% expression. And she's down in Kagoshima. Good morning, Maya. welcome back to reality. And she's saying that whoever was mixing it yesterday at some event is saying that the flavors are more concentrated. It is really interesting how alcohol content affects perceived sweetness in a lot of drinks. So that's probably maybe part of that concentration of flavor. Interested to try it. Seems like it must be pretty good if they're throwing it out there.
Really pretty bottle
good
as
news
well
for shochu drinkers.
Yeah, really pretty bottle. It's a custom glass. From the photos that I saw. We'll maybe post a link to the press release in the show notes or on Facebook and YouTube afterward.
Yeah, or if anybody who's watching the show live right now, either Facebook and or on YouTube, if you can find the press release, then go ahead and drop it in the comments so other people can look at that bottle. So very cool. This whole soda wari. Soda is, of course, sparkling water or club soda. Wari means cut or blend. You have the wari at the end of a bunch of words in shochu enjoyment. Mizuwari, oyuwari. Mizuwari is water cut. Oyuwari is hot water cut. Today we're talking about soda wari, and I think we're going to have a good reason to use that word again. I think we can move on to the main event here, and this is related to how this is the wrong one. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. This is related to the title of the episode, The Colors of Shochu. And of course, when you think about the colors of shochu, I think we could talk about koji and black, white, yellow koji, but we're going in a slightly different direction, and this is perhaps a really good brand to celebrate our 52nd full year commencement, or not commencement, but the almost hitting the finish line of a full year. And today's brand, the focus brand, the tasting brand today, we're going to go with this beautiful guy right here. Colorful.
That's right.
Colorful, which is, and you can see by the label, it is colorful. Of course,
really
by
nice
the color of the spirit itself, it's not very colorful.
Yeah.
And I love that Yano-san, this is a brand made by Shoro Distillery in Kushima, Miyazaki, and Yano-san is running the show. He's one of the toji there. I think he's the main toji, and he's also the president of the company. And he is making this very beautiful 30% expression that we're going to pour and sip straight really quickly to celebrate our 52nd episode. And Stephen, can you tell us a little bit about what makes this sweet potato shochu from Miyazaki unique and special?
Yeah. So, as you said, Yano-san is the toji, but there is another toji at the distillery. And so this is actually a collaboration between the two. They both made sweet potato shochu using white koji, and then actually it's interesting that the Miyazaki yeast that's used in almost every Miyazaki shochu distillery, in fact probably all of them, was originally developed at Shoto Distillery, and the local guild came and basically got the yeast, and they made that the Miyazaki yeast, and so they used that yeast, and then they now they used the same kind of sweet potato, but they were grown on two different farms in two different prefectures. So they have
Yep.
different names.
Yeah.
The
Right.
potato names are different, even though
It's
Yano-san believes
technically a
they're the same
different varietal.
species.
Yep.
Yeah. But
And
one farm in Miyazaki, one farm in Kagoshima. And then those two were blended. The two raw distillates from Yano-san and then from the other Toji. They blended it into colorful. And you can see that the label is essentially two-tone, right? It's got sort of a pinkish red and then a bluish color. So it's
almost into
I guess
purple at
intended
the
to show that blending that happened. And it's, it's one of the there's a number of blended shochu. We know that Ichiko blends everything they sell. So blending is certainly part of the industry. Then you have, for example, you've got the collaborative in Amami, where you have blending from a number of different makers into products and that sort of thing. But this is one of the first brands that I can think of where it was an intentional blend, and it's very clear that it's an intentional blend.
Right. They make it very clear. It's part of the marketing for this.
Yep,
You're
that's
right.
right. Yeah, so it's a really interesting brand from that perspective. I believe the distillates are from 2016 and 2019. So there's a little bit of age on it as well. You're up to 5 years on the older one and 3 years on the younger one. I guess 2 years on the younger one. But yeah, really, really nice, bright nose. I would say a colorful nose. Kanpai.
Kanpai to everybody out there. Happy Shochu'sday. Yeah, it is. It's really bright and refreshing, and really, really quite sweet. There's a lot of, and many times these days we're getting a lot of, some of the brands we were just talking about earlier. You get a lot of almost tropical fruitiness notes to them, and I think there's a little bit of that here, but I also get a lot of grape and maybe some orange, or
there's definitely some orange
supermarket style fruit.
When I first nosed this, we opened these bottles yesterday to sort of prep for this, and the very first thing off the high note that I was getting was actually just essentially steamed sweet potatoes. But the more time I spent with that, I'm almost getting into a candied yam.
Yeah.
Like a very, very sweet, but then it has some orange to it, right? There's definitely some of that, but it's the sweet orange, right? It's not a citrus on the other end. It's not something dry. It's something sweet. And then it's funny, as I was nosing it, I was really trying to figure it out. It reminded me of one of those really weird flavors of Bubblicious bubblegum from when I was a kid. And there's no way I'm going to remember which one it was, because they did all sorts of weird stuff, right? They'd have like watermelon, kiwi bubblegum and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm never going to remember which one it was from, far too long ago, but I had this flash of nostalgia to chewing bubblegum in probably middle school. And so it's really, really interesting on the nose. And it is, in some ways, I guess you could classify it in that new light fruity style that we were talking about with Dayame and Yasuda. And yet, to me, it expresses
Komasa expressions like green and orange and pink.
Yeah, but it still seems to be maybe a little bit more reserved, a little bit closer to what you would expect from a sweet potato shochu, because you're still getting the sweet potato aroma, right?
Very much so.
Steamed potatoes or that sort of thing. Some of those are just unrecognizable as sweet potato.
They're complete curveballs. This one is a bit more, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think this comment came up last night while we were tasting through this, but this is it. The steamed sweet potato notes are probably what the uninitiated would assume or expect a steamed sweet potato to smell and taste like. This is actually the type of sweet potato that is sweet. And sometimes it's not. A lot of sweet potato shochu is much earthier and much spicier. This actually has a very balanced, almost honeyed sweetness in the raw honey sense of things, in the real honey sense of things, not honey that comes from a bear, or like in one of those plastic things shaped like a bear, but like a
it comes from a
raw honeyed sweet potato. And it's really nice. It's really good. 30% ABV. I believe the two distillates are made with different types of koji, so it's colorful in that way. I believe one of them is a black and one of them is a white koji.
Oh, is it? Okay, I said white, but perhaps you're right.
And it's really nice. And now we're trying it straight. But on the back of the JDM, the Japan Domestic Market label, or there you go. It actually has a step-by-step how to prepare yeah, it's hard to aim. You got it there now. You can see from left to right on Steven's bottle, it says put the rice in there. The rice. Don't put any rice in your glass. I'm sorry. Put the ice in there and then add 1 part of colorful, 1 part colorful shochu, and then 2 parts either water to make a mizuwari or sparkling water to make a sodawari. And I think we're going to make a sodawari.
We are. Let me grab my soda.
Today. Now, my SodaStream canister. Ooh, free shout out for SodaStream there. I shouldn't have done that without asking them for sponsorship. Actually, I never thought of that as an angle. The official sparkling water of Japan Distilled.
So I'm actually going to, if you will indulge me, I'm going to build a proper highball.
Okay.
And I am going to teach
tell us
folks
how to do that.
Yeah. All right. So, well, I put my ice into a little water cooler. So let's see how easy this comes out. And I hope I have enough of it. I did not test this before the show, so I apologize if it's. Ooh, that landed right in the glass. Good.
Nice. 2 points.
This is not as easy as I expected. But
So
at least the ice.
sodawari.
That ended up in the keyboard.
Oh, cool. Yeah, keyboards, you may not
They
realize
like
this, but keyboards do love the attention and the love. They want to taste everything that you're drinking. That is loud, Stephen. Holy crap. Right next to the
right underneath the
right next to
microphone.
the multi-$100 microphone. I'm sure everybody's enjoying that at home.
All right. So I fill the glass with ice. Okay.
Look at that beautiful glass.
So this is actually
Shoto's
Shoto
glass.
Distillery. Yeah.
Look at that beautiful thing.
What? Yeah. And I'm actually going to use that as my fill line for the spirit. But the first thing you do after you get your ice in there is you want the glass to be as cold as possible. So you're going to give it. I got my stirrer, and I'm not a bartender, so I'm not stirring as prettily as they do with these things, but especially as I'm holding it up for the camera. But you get the glass nice and cold, and then you're going to have some melt at the bottom of the glass. Now it's getting cold to the touch, right? Like the glass is actually getting to the point where it's almost uncomfortable to hold. And then I'm going to strain off the water, which I'm not going to show you on camera.
That would be talent. That would be a seriously talented and.
Yeah, I'd have to have several arms, I think.
Do that.
Yeah. All right. So now I've got my chilled glass. You see it's getting a little bit frosty. And then I'm going to pour the distillate to the level of the Shoto. Oops, I missed. I went a little high. So I would, because it's 30% alcohol, it's going to be more than you would put in a whiskey highball. So I missed. I'm going to drink that off a little bit. Hold on.
Bloopers and outtakes.
That's right. All right, that's still above the line, but I'm not going to keep drinking. I'm going to be drunk. Okay. Then with your soda, if I want it to be really precious, I would pour my soda down my stir straw, but I'm not going to do that. And then you're just going to add your soda slowly. You can't see that. Damn it. This camera thing is hard. All right.
Yeah, it's backwards.
And then, all right, so I got my soda. And then just one little twist, because you don't want the bubbles to go away. Just do one little half twist, and then you've got your highball.
Yep.
And
that's looks and sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Look at that. Kanpai.
And there we go. Kanpai.
And that is how you make, technically, how you make a chuhai, right? No, we might need a citrus.
Yeah, you want to add
twist
fruit
in there.
But that would be a highball. Right.
Okay, that would be a highball. Yeah. Well, it's a shochu highball, so it's a chuhai. No.
Yep. Technically, you are not wrong.
Highball education, right here on Japan Distilled. Very easy to make at home, and it is important. The whole stirring thing. You don't, when you're tasting spirits, tasting any drink, if it's carbonated, so if it's beer or a sparkling wine or a sparkling sake or maybe a sparkling, even a sparkling shochu, which is not really a thing yet, but I suppose if it comes from a can Chuhai and RTD, then you don't want to swirl it, because swirling it's going to cause the carbonation to be released. And when you stir it, you got to be very, very gentle, lest you tame it too much. But cool. I think these explainer parts of Shochu'sday are valuable. I think hopefully people can start experimenting with that, and you have to find the right ratio. As Steven said, colorful is 30% ABV, which means you're going to add probably a little bit less spirit than you would when you're mixing or maybe it means that you're adding more soda than you would when you're mixing something at 25%, which is a little bit more industry standard. And in Miyazaki, and also, interestingly enough, where Shoro is from, 20% is very common as well. So if you get your hands on a 20%, although those don't commonly leave Miyazaki, I feel, or leave northern Kyushu for that matter.
Right.
They're unicorns.
True. Yeah, I mean, I think many people might be more familiar with a whiskey highball, right? If you're dealing with a 40 or 45% whiskey, then you're going to actually want more spirit if you're making a highball from a 30% sweet potato shochu to boost up the flavor a little bit. But this has so much orange expression with soda that I almost want like an orange wheel, like a slice of orange.
It is really orange. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. It's got a really fresh citrus. Oh wait, no, it's not super citrus. It's like orange peel. It's sweet, but it's got some dryness to it, which is weird. I know. I'm not making any sense. It's early. I really apologize, people.
Well, it's the orange. It's the cooked oranges, right? It's duck orange. I'm sure I'm pronouncing my French really well.
So yeah, the right? Orange slices, the orange wheels that you would put on a baked bird of some sort. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of where you throw a little chutney in there. I can taste it already.
Yeah, that's sort of where it is. It's really interesting. It's not the orange of like taking a bite of a slice of orange in the summertime. It's more on that sweet cooked side. That's where you get to that candied yam. The other
candied,
right?
Yeah, that's a good call.
Right, it's that sweetness. So it's really, really interesting drink.
I think it's
very refreshing.
Beautiful. Yeah, Shoro hit the nail on the head with this one. Great, colorful. Like Steven said before, I think you said this. There are two different labels.
Oh,
right?
I didn't
mention that.
Did you mention that?
You didn't mention that. There's actually two.
We were saving that for episode 104, Christopher.
Oh shit! I jumped the gun, didn't I? I'm sorry. Man, I can't be contained today. But
there is. We did coordinate our colors. Though. We
actually made a request when we ordered these things. We were like, "Can we get the purple, pink, blue one, please?" And they're probably, "Who are these jerks?"
Yeah.
It's a surprise how we do this. This is like, there's
supposed to be luck of the draw.
Yeah, I think it was probably supposed to be that way, but. Yano-san, if you are watching live or are watching a recorded version of this 50-second Shochu'sday episode, nice work. That's a beautiful shochu, and I think it's a great summer expression. I think, especially with bubbles. So
yeah, if you still see that bottle behind me on future episodes into August, I'm not living my best life.
August, are you kidding me? It's only 1.8 liters. That's gonna be gone in a couple of weeks.
Sure. No, it's. I think I now know my summer sipper for sure.
Yep. And on that, I mean, this probably leads us into the newly opened, and of course, we both opened this together last night Japan time, so only a few hours ago, really.
Yeah, I haven't opened anything since.
Since then, so maybe we go newly opened before that as well, since we already let that cat out of the bag. Do you have anything else? You know what? I can open something live on camera because I just had 2 bottles arrive about within 5 minutes of this show starting. Maybe I'll start doing that if you want to start searching.
Yeah, I'll introduce mine. Mine is right here.
Oh, go for it.
My absolute favorite sweet potato shochu. Apologies to everyone else in the industry. but
Oh, Rokudaime Yuri.
I've been holding on
Nice.
to this bottle for probably a year or so. It's just not easy to find.
It
So I'll
really
pick it
is
up,
not.
but then I'll this is made what on Koshiki Island. There's only two
Okay.
distilleries on the island.
Okay.
And Rokudaime Yuri means sixth generation lily, which has a really pretty lilies actually on the in the artwork.
Right, right.
And this actually this was a little bit of a shocker. I think was it Danshu magazine had a shochu edition where they had drinks experts from around Japan blind taste different styles of sweet potato shochu.
Uh-huh.
This was Danshu, right? I think 2016.
Danchu?
And
Yeah.
yeah, and they did blind taste for the light style, medium bodied style, and full bodied style
Yeah,
sweet
that's a
potato
great
shochu.
episode or a great addition.
It really is, and what it did because it was blind tastings, and the big boys were in it, the three M's were in it, right?
Yeah,
Mao, Murao,
they were.
Moriizo, they were all in it.
Yamato
Rokudaime
Zakura was in
Yuri,
it too, I think, right?
Yamato Zakura was in it, but Rokudaime Yuri took best in class over, I believe,
Everything.
Moriizo. Yeah.
Everything that you people know.
Yep. Yeah. So and I'd never even heard of it at that time.
Hmm.
And obviously I was living in the States, so I didn't have access to things like this.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But then the first
And
time I tried
now
it, I
you're
was
living
like,
in Fukuoka and still don't have access to it.
that's right.
Can't get that stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to get it on auction usually.
Yeah. When I walk
Yeah.
into, I'll always, whenever I'm around in a new neighborhood or something and I see a liquor store that looks like I might have a decent selection of something, I'll pop my head in. And if I see Yuri there, I'm like, okay, I'll take that. But I only know a couple shops that have it semi-regularly. So whenever I'm in there, I'm looking for it. And now this is a 25%, but they also have a 35%, which is even harder to find and even more delicious. And it's really, really lovely stuff. And so I guess this is a teaser for an upcoming episode of Japan Distilled podcast. We will be doing sweet potatoes soon. And I wanted to revisit Rokudaime Yuri before we recorded that. That's the reason I opened this bottle.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really, really good.
I'm very happy when I have a bottle of that, and when I do have a bottle of it, it doesn't last very long. Yeah, you have to buy it. Yeah, 1.8 liters. Get the Ishobing. Now, speaking of which, I have the two things that I have a small bottle that arrived, and then I have a big bottle that arrived. I'm pretty sure I know what the big bottle is. I do some hunting on the secondary market, and I snag stuff that I'm interested in, stuff that I want to have at home. One thing that I often get on secondary is manazuru, which I've talked about before. Sorry, I'm waving some scissors in the air. I promise not to start jogging around.
That's a little threatening, Christopher.
Yeah, I'm going to use this to open that. I'm going to use these to open this. But I'm not sure what this is. So I figured it's a
Mystery bottle.
Discovery. Mystery bottle. Yep.
Let's hope it's not wine. It needs to be distilled, Christopher.
Chances of that are very slim. This also could be something it could be a sample somebody sending me, so I really have no idea whether. I assume it's something that I bought because I should have a couple of things coming, and it's also not packaged in a super professional way. Although I've seen some shocking package jobs by distilleries, like laughably bad. So who knows? This is Sashiba. Oh shit! Ooh, pardon my American. This is an awamori that is made by one of our favorite distilleries, Stephen, Ikema. And
no kidding.
This is something that I don't believe is made anymore. It hasn't been made for a long time. It was an expression, an awamori expression, 30% alcohol, that was made, I believe, only for the airport. And I think it might have only been made for the airport in Miyakojima. So I found a bottle, and this one's pretty old. This one is from Heisei 17, I think.
Wow.
So this is quite a while ago. Sashiba. And I have a couple of bottles of it because it was given to me. They were given to me by the niece of the current Toji when when she and her husband were staying over in Tokyo. They were up here, and we were having like we basically had a week-long party during Golden Week, and she brought a couple bottles of this. And
Nice.
I still have one that's not quite finished, but I was
Okay.
like, I need more of that before I finish the bottle. So I've been watching for it. It doesn't come up very often, so I'm very happy that this arrived. This is not newly opened,
Nice.
so I'm cheating. The box is newly
The
opened.
box is, yeah, you open the box. That's,
I opened the box. This is
yeah. We won't make you crack that one. That's a unicorn.
well, the next time, now that I have more sample bottles coming in the mail, so I think they're 2 ounces, and so once I get that set, then I'll make sure to, from the old bottle, I'll fire off a sample, and now I have backup, so I'm not going to feel like I'm losing a part of history, losing
Nice.
a part of myself, by sending you 60 mils of that. Probably need to send 60 mils of that to Maya. And now I'm going to start to get people in the comments saying, send me 60 mils too, please. And I'm like, well, do you live in Japan? I suppose I could probably, there's some experimentation that might be necessary to see if you can send or sneak 60 mils of something across an international border. But I'm not sure I want to.
So there are some borders.
I
that
have
could do that.
two, you and I both, yeah, well, we have, or at least I have alcohol licenses in my name in a couple of countries, and I'm not sure I should be flirting with that, so
Probably not. You should probably send them through proper channels.
maybe I should start playing by the rules for once, Chris. Come on. Yeah. Man, so
Nice.
anyways, that was an event. That was a fun, newly
Oh, yeah.
opened.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that label before, so that was pretty cool.
No, it is really, it's a weird one. And
Mm-hmm.
Miyakojima, you've been there. It's a small airport, but I believe for a while, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are still making it, but I've not seen any new. Snow. Maya's hilarious at all hours of the day. They could still be making it, but they're also such a small. Ikema is such a small distillery, such a small operation that they might have also just said, you know what, we don't have the people power to do this really.
Yeah, they are tiny. For sure. That's the one-armed Toji in Miyako.
Yeah.
I visited him on my first trip. That's a
Just
different
so happen
distillery.
to have Yokokoji.
It's a different
I
distillery.
don't know if you can see. You can't see my.
You can't see it.
My display.
No.
It's cropped. So
It is.
yeah, Yokokoji happens to be one of the 3 bottles on the display table right now, alongside Colorful. That's a fantastic coincidence.
So I'm disappearing under
Actually,
my desk. 'Cause I
I'm
have-
sorry. This is not
Yeah,
from Ikema.
no, it's
I
not.
don't even know what I'm talking about. I
No.
think I grabbed it because it's in Awamori. Yeah,
Yep.
I have a. Here we go. This is what I meant to grab. Sorry. Nico Nico Taro.
Nico Nico
Smiling
Taro.
Taro, who never smiles.
Yeah. With these old school white caps.
This is This mine is.
Which are just-
I guess they look the same. Mine has started to
Yeah.
turn a color other than white over the years.
Yeah, mine's a
This is
little
an
eggshell at this
old-ass
point.
Bottle.
I don't think this one's that old, but I don't know where they stamp dates on this. It's probably on the
This
back
one's
side
not
of
stamped. Is it the
This
back
one
side
is
of the
not.
front label?
Maybe I
can't
don't see a number
anything
to
stamped.
do with the brown.
No.
Yep. This is exciting television. Anyway, Nico Nico Taro is their main expression for the bottle that Christopher just opened from out of the box anyway. So
I'm excited to be allowed to go return to that bottle, which I haven't tasted for years and years and years. So I'll make sure to spread the goodness across the country once I see you guys. All right, awesome. We're 40 minutes in nearly, and we have made it a habit to say sayonara within 45 minutes recently, which I think is a healthy habit, and we should
I think it is.
maintain our healthy habits. So coming up next week, I think we're still
First
considering
episode
what
of
we're
year
gonna do.
2.
The first episode
Yeah.
of year 2. Year 2. How long is this gonna go? I kind of feel like we're starting to get into Gary Vaynerchuk territory, where he's the whatever the creation is, it's got some momentum, it got good people paying attention to it, and he's thinking, anybody want to guess how far this goes? Maybe that's something. Like, how many episodes? What are you gonna put your nickel down on? What's episode number? What will be the final episode of this iteration of Japan Distilled? How
Yeah.
many hundreds of episodes are there gonna be?
Don't know.
100.
Don't want to think about it.
One
100 is less than a year from now.
156.
That seems like a really
3
low,
years.
really low bar. We'll figure it out.
We'll see. See how busy.
As long
we
as it's
get.
fun, I don't see why we wouldn't keep doing it.
As long as it's fun, and as long as people keep on giving us interesting things to think about. To all of you out there around the world who are tuning in today, thank you very much. I see John's out there. I see Maya and Ian are there. I'm sure there are others. I think Justin's out there on YouTube. Love you guys and appreciate you. Thank you for 52 weeks, a full calendar year. We'll be back again shortly. Be back again next week, Tuesday in the States, sometime early in the Wednesday morning in Europe, Wednesday morning here in Japan and everything close to this time zone. A very hearty and heartfelt Japan Distilled Shochu'sday to all of you. Thanks again, folks. Kanpai.
Kanpai.